Good morning, second graders. Today is Monday, May 18th, and we want to give a huge shout out and a huge happy birthday to Courtney today. It's her special day today, so I hope you have an amazing day. Today we start week 8 of our distance learning. Oh my goodness, we have been doing this for a long time, haven't we? I miss you so much. I feel like it's been forever since we've gotten to be together. But I just want to let you know how impressed I am with all of your work, second graders. Wow, none of us wanted to learn this way. None of us wanted to end our year this way with distance learning, but we have all stepped up and done what we can to make it the best that we can in this situation. So I just want you to know how proud I am of you, because we've all worked together and we've all worked hard to make it work. And sometimes that's life, isn't it? We have to make lemonade out of lemons. Have you ever heard that expression? Okay, well, that's what it means. We're all working together to make the best of the situation that none of us wanted. So keep it up. We only have 2.5 weeks left together. And I know it's getting warm out and it's almost summer and you're just so ready to be done, but hang in there. Keep working hard, because I am so proud of each and every one of you. This week we're going to do a little bit with our memory books, so that will be fun. Today, like I said, week 8 of distance learning. So you have a new matrix for this week, and this one's going to be the one that says May 18th through the 22nd. So today it's Marvelous Monday again, because we get to do another Scholastic News, just like we've been doing for the last couple Mondays and Fridays. This one is called Beach of Glass, okay? And so, as always, we're going to preview the Scholastic News, and hopefully by now you know what some of the things that we talk about in here are called. It's a 2-word phrase. Nonfiction, it's 3 words, nonfiction text features. And that's what we've been talking about every time we have a Scholastic News. So here's the title, and it's called Beach of Glass. And so it says, a beach in California is covered in beautiful pieces of sea glass. They're smooth, not sharp. They look like jewels, and they used to be trash. How did this happen? So that's one of the questions that you're going to ask yourself as a reader. How did this trash turn into jewels? Okay, and as you open it up, trash or treasures, here's your headline. And your subheadings are in red today. Boldface words are on here, sea glass and souvenirs, okay? There's also a sidebar. That's another nonfiction text feature. Remember last time we had a bottom bar? This is a sidebar because it's on the side. It talks about sea glass colors, so read that because that gives you information as well. And then there's something special in this one. First of all, as you read, think about whether this beach should be protected, okay? So there are 2 paragraphs in your Scholastic News magazine that give different opinions about should the beach be protected or not. So after reading those 2 paragraphs, I want you to tell a family member which one you agree with. Do you think it should be protected or not? And there's a part right here where it says, what do you think? Okay, and so one of the things that they're asking about is, should people be allowed to take that sea glass off the beach? That's what they mean by should the beach be protected. So go ahead and read that, and then don't forget to tell a family member whether you think it should be allowed to take the sea glass or not. That's kind of a persuasive couple of paragraphs, because one paragraph is saying that they should be allowed to, one paragraph is saying that they shouldn't. And remember, an author's purpose, when we have persuade, inform, and entertain, this has a little bit of author's purpose to persuade you one way or the other. So go ahead and tell your family member that. When you're finished, please do the back. Okay, and then you're going to have some 3 things here: reduce, reuse, and recycle. So read about those first and then answer the questions on the back. And then, of course, don't forget to do your sheet, both sides. Okay, just like you've been doing. And go ahead then on Seesaw. I put an activity on there for you to take pictures and upload it so that I can see your answers. All right? So that is reading today. Let me just remind you that this is how you log on to Scholastic News. Some of you are pros at it, I'm sure, by now. So go ahead and follow these steps. Your password was sent to your parents, so I'm sure they have that in a text thread. If not, you can get a hold of me and I will be happy to give it to you again. But that's how you get onto Scholastic News, all right? Go ahead and do that. And then in math today, we are going to complete pages 605 to 608 together today. So lesson 3, it's a story problem lesson. So we're going to get that done all together today, so you won't even have to do any math except for when you sit down on the video. So grab your math packet and a pencil and let's get going, and we'll get our math done, and all you'll have to do is Scholastic News. All right, hopefully you have your math packet. I forgot to tell you to grab your sheet from Friday. Hopefully that's in there so we can quickly go over our answers. We had to tell time to the half hour. So everything was 30. Remember, when the minute hand is on the 6, we say it's 30 minutes past. So here was number 4, 10:30, number 5, and number 6. And then hopefully you knew that 10:30 is the same as 10:30. 5:30 was the same as 5:30. And 11:30 is the same as 11:30. So the 30 means half past, and then the hour. And then number 7 through 9, you had to draw the hands on each clock, making sure that your minute hand touches the number and your hour hand does not. And also when you draw your hands on the clock, that when the minute hand is on the 6, the hour hand is halfway in between those 2 hours, because it's halfway up to the next hour. So this is what your 7 and your 8 and your 9 should have looked like. Okay, and on the back, you should have had 8:30. If he wakes up at 7:30, that's 7:30. And an hour later when he leaves for school is 8:30. Remember, an hour later is when your minute hand goes all the way around one time. And on the brain builder, what happens at each of these times? 2 hours after 4:30, so that's 4:30. 2 hours later is 6:30, so that was the alarm goes off. And 1 hour after 2:30, 2:30 is 2:30, so 1 hour later was 3:30, so that's soccer practice. And 1 hour before 9:30, 9:30 is 9:30. 1 hour before is 8:30, so you should have written school starts. And how is reading a digital clock different from reading an analog clock? Explain. And hopefully you said something like, on a digital clock, you just have to read the numbers. On an analog clock, you have to look at the hour hand and the minute hand to tell the time. So hopefully you didn't have to say those exact words, but hopefully something along those lines. All right, good job. Today, like I said, we're going to get our math done all together. So I hope you have a pencil, and we're just going to sit down and get it done right now. This is lesson 3 on problem solving, and today our strategy is finding a pattern. Sometimes we have to act it out, sometimes we draw a picture, but today our strategy is finding a pattern. So that's what we're going to talk about. So it says you should be on page 605 through 608, just so that you know. All right, the buses leave in order every half hour. Bus 1 leaves at 9:30. Bus 2 leaves at 10. What time do buses 3 and 4 leave? So that's your pattern. They leave every half hour. So it tells you that right there. The buses leave in order every half hour. Okay, and so remember, in step 1 for understanding, you have to underline what you know and circle what you need to find. So we already know that they leave in order every half hour. We know that bus 1 leaves at 9:30 and bus 2 leaves at 10. And you're going to find out what time do buses 3 and 4 leave. Okay, so how will I solve the problem? Okay, you're going to find a pattern. Okay, and then your pattern is every 30 minutes. We said that. So bus 1, it already told you, left at 9:30, and bus 2 left at 10. So if you have your clock, and your clock is at 10 o'clock, and you're doing every 30 minutes, you're going to count 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And then your bus, remember that's got to move. And so your next bus will leave at 10:30. They already wrote that on there. So you can just trace over that. And then 30 minutes after that, you're going to keep counting with your minute hand. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And it's going to go up to 11 o'clock. Okay? All right. Hopefully that was pretty easy. So we're going to go on the back. Get it turned over here. All right. Now we're going to practice the strategy. Each class at school will go to recess 30 minutes after the other. The first class goes to recess at 1 o'clock. What time will the fourth class go? Okay, so we underline what we already know. We already know that each class will go to recess 30 minutes after the other. And we know that the first class goes to recess at 1 o'clock. We want to know what time will the fourth class go. So we're going to circle our question. Okay, so how will I solve the problem? You're going to find the pattern, which is, hopefully you know, which is 30 minutes. Yeah? Okay, so I will count by 30 minutes. All right, so the first class, it already told you up here, left at 1 o'clock. So we're going to put 1 o'clock right here. Now, just like we did on the other page, we're going to be at 1 o'clock. Okay, and we're going to count by 30 minutes. So you take your minute hand and remember you're counting by fives as it touches these red numbers. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That makes this move halfway, and voila, it is 1:30. So that's what we're going to write in the second class. The second class goes outside at 1:30. Okay, now we're going to start right here and count 30 minutes again. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And remember how we counted by fives. That's important when you're telling time. Okay, so now you have 2 o'clock. And then one more. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And now we will have 2:30 because it went halfway around the hour. Okay? Now, hopefully you know that it's a reasonable answer. And you can also answer the question that the fourth class will go at 2:30. So we can write that right here. The fourth class goes to recess at 2:30. They must get out of school later than we do, huh? Because we would already just getting ready to go home at that time, wouldn't we? All right, good job. Now we're on page 607, and here we go. We're going to find the pattern again and use the space provided. That's what our directions tell us. So number 1 says, in the morning, Mrs. White's students change activities every half hour. So again, we're doing 30 minutes. Reading starts at 8:30. Her students go to 3 morning activities. When do each of these activities start? Okay, so we already know they change activities every hour. Okay, now this time it's every hour. Reading starts at 8:30. Her students go to 3 more activities. When do they all start? So now instead of every 30 minutes, our pattern is every hour. Okay, so I'm going to put my clock on 8:30 because that's when the first activity starts and they have to do 3 more. So if our pattern is every hour, remember an hour is when the minute hand goes all the way around 1 time. Okay, so it's at 8:30 and it's going to travel. How many minutes are in an hour, boys and girls? 60, that's right. So you need to do 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. Okay, and so hopefully you knew that an hour after 8:30 is 9:30. So we're going to write 9:30. Now we can keep counting on our clock, or we can know that an hour after 9:30 would be 10:30. And an hour after 10:30 would be 11:30. Okay, when it's on the hour, it makes it pretty easy, doesn't it? So you have 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, and all of those are 1 hour apart. And now we have brain builders. So it says, students start work in learning stations at 10:30. After 2 hours, they go to lunch. 3 hours after lunch begins, they go home. What time do the students go home? Okay, so we're going to underline what we already know. Students start work in learning stations at 10:30. After 2 hours, they go to lunch. And 3 hours after lunch begins, they go home. So what time do students go home? Now this pattern is about hours too. You just have to jump ahead a couple, don't you? So this is about finding hours. That's our pattern. Just like in number 1, we had to find the hour. Whoops, we never circled this, did we? Let's circle that quick. Okay, so here we go. They start at 10:30, so after 2 hours, they go to lunch. Okay, so if it was 10:30, they start work, and 2 hours later, they go to lunch. So 10:30 plus 2 hours, that means this goes around twice. So here's once, and it becomes 11:30, and it goes around again, and it becomes 12:30. So 10:30, 11:30, 12:30. Okay, so that's when they go to lunch. Then it says 3 hours after lunch begins, they go home. So now you need to be at 12:30 and you need to count 3 hours more. Okay, so here it goes around once. That's 1 hour. 2 hours. And 3 hours. So we had 12:30, 1:30, 2:30, 3:30. Okay, so hopefully you knew that when they went home, it would be 3:30. So go ahead and write that on your paper. And number 3, in the afternoon, Ms. White's students change activities every half hour. Math starts at 1 o'clock. Writing starts after math. Reading starts after writing. What time will reading start? Holy buckets, that's a lot of questions, isn't it? All right, so in the afternoon, Mrs. White's students change activities every half hour. Okay, so right there, that's your pattern. Every half hour, which is 30 minutes. Math starts at 1 o'clock. Okay, so let's just put a 1 o'clock right here, and we'll put math underneath there. We'll put an M, okay? Writing starts after math, okay? So here's writing. Reading starts after writing, and here's reading, okay? And then that way, that kind of helps us keep it straight, because there's lots of words there, isn't there? Okay, so we have math starts at 1, writing starts after math, reading starts after writing. So we want to know what time will reading start. Okay, so if we're going every 30 minutes, all we have to do is break it down into little chunks. Okay, so here's 1 o'clock, and this time we're going every 30 minutes, so we can count by 5s until 30. You should also know that the 30 is at the 6. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay, so that next activity would be 1:30. So we're going to write 1:30 on there. And then reading starts after writing. And that's what we're actually wanting to know. So now we're at 1:30, and we're going to count 30 minutes again. Okay? So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So what time does reading start? And hopefully you all knew it was 2 o'clock. And then we can write 2 o'clock on the line. Okay? So it just kind of helped us to draw a picture as well as find a pattern, didn't it? So that we could just break it down. All right, nice job. Okay, on the back, this time we're going to review strategies. So we might have find a pattern, we might have acted out, or we might draw a picture. And sometimes we do more than one, just like we did in the last one. We drew a picture and we found a pattern. And sometimes when we're using our clock, that's kind of like acting it out. All right, so last page, here we go. Number 4, Carmen has 8 shoes. She places an equal number of shoes in 2 suitcases. How many shoes will be in each suitcase? Okay, so if she has 8 shoes, we're just going to draw a picture here. So here's my suitcase, and here's my other suitcase, because she has 2 suitcases. So she has 8 shoes. She places an equal number of shoes in 2 suitcases, and we want to find out how many shoes will be in each suitcase. So I'm just going to draw a little line here to represent my shoe. So here's a shoe. Here's a shoe. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So how many shoes are in each suitcase? Hopefully you said 4. And hopefully they have matching shoes in each suitcase, huh? Might be bad if she wore one of each type of shoe, wouldn't it? That'd be funny. All right, number 5. A postcard costs 45 cents. Jason wants to buy 2 postcards. He has 2 quarters, 2 dimes, and 3 nickels. How much money does he have? All right, now this one I think is going to be important to draw a picture as well. So first of all, a postcard costs 45 cents. Jason wants to buy 2 postcards. Okay, so if he has 2 postcards, first of all, let's figure out how much 2 postcards are going to equal. So what is 5 plus 5? Remember, we always start in the ones column. It's been a long time since we've done this. 5 plus 5 is 10. So you put the 0 here. Did we make a new 10? Yes, we did. So put it in the tens place. So 4 plus 4 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. Okay, so he needs enough to have for 90 cents for 2 postcards. So let's see what he really has. 2 quarters, 2 dimes, and 3 nickels. We want to know how much money he has. So now we're going to draw another picture. We're going to do 25 plus 25 plus 10 plus 10 plus 5. Oops, 3 nickels. Ooh, we need another nickel and another nickel. There we go. So 25, 50, freeze. 50 plus 10 is 60, plus 10, 70, freeze. Now we have a new coin. Plus 5 is 75, plus 5 is 80, plus 5 more is 85. So he has 85 cents. Does he have enough to buy 2 postcards if 2 postcards equal 90 cents? Nope. So how many pennies does he need so that he can buy the postcards? So here's 85 cents. Put 85 in your head and count up to 90. 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90. Okay, so he needs 5 more cents, which would be 5 more pennies. That was kind of tricky, wasn't it? All right, the last one. The subway arrives at the station on the hour and half hour. It is now 4:30. Kate's family is on the way, but it will take 1 hour to get there. What is the earliest time her family can get on the subway? Okay, so we know that the subway arrives on the hour and the half hour. It is now 4:30. Kate's family is on the way, but it will take 1 hour to get there. What is the earliest time her family can get on the subway? Okay, so what time can they get on the subway? The earliest time that her family can get on the subway. So if it's 4:30 right now, and it's going to take a whole hour for her family to get there, the earliest time that she can get on there, what's 1 hour? 4:30 plus 1 hour. And hopefully you know by now that that is 5:30. Okay, good job, second grade. This was a little tricky, this problem-solving one. That's why it's kind of nice to do it together. But now your math is all done. Your must-dos are done for math. All you have to do is finish your Scholastic News and have a fantastic Monday. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.